This devlog, we're going to put villages into the overworld. With the addition of the goblin campsites a couple of weeks back, I kind of felt good about settlements appearing in the overworld. So, wanted to experiment with it a bit. Surprisingly, I actually really liked how it fit together when I came to try it out. Although just remember that it is a work in progress, so don't look too closely at some of it. If you're new here, this is a game that attempts to distill the feeling of discovering things in a high fantasy world down into something that you can pick up and play in short bursts, just like what I'm doing here. It's going to have lots of lore and story and stuff to find, which is kind of what I'm trying to lay the groundwork for here. So stick around if that sounds interesting to you. We're also going to be making a big pile of models today, and actually a big chunk of this video is going to be me describing my plans for 2025. Which is exciting. So I'm just trying to add different towns and stuff to the game. Currently the code's really not good, and I'm placing stuff actually with code rather than using my nice level editor tool that I spent ages writing. Now one of the problems that does introduce is it kind of removes some of the sense of scale. Like this is meant to be a river, but of course it's at a smaller scale compared to what the player is. But that illusion kind of goes away if I start to put houses there. So yeah, as much as that is a weird thing, I do actually quite like having houses and stuff in the overworld. I think it does kind of fit. What I'd like to do is actually design that properly in a level editor, but we'll give it time. We'll get to that later. One of the main problems I've got is that I never actually tried to do world switching when I'm using the testing world. So if I go into this house now, burp, it looks like this, and everything's wrong. Ugh. The reason is it's just not hiding the scene node from before and all that sort of thing. Like you can see the player. Okay, I've crashed it somehow. Okay, so it looks like I've managed to fix that issue. So if I go into the house now, hey look, it's not like ridiculous looking anymore. Yeah, and then if you were to leave the map, then you get put back out here. Now there is a bug where if you try and go back in, it will crash. And it will crash because of a name clash. So I'll fix that tomorrow. Don't worry, it's on my Trello board right at the bottom there. It's a gameplay. Right, I think it's about time we put one over here. That is kind of interesting, but of course it's not meant to look like that. Of course there's a tree next to the door because things don't stop spawning. Hey, okay, it lives. It lives. So the way that the towns are placed in the game at the moment makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, look at this. But the same could be said for things like the dust mite nest. Like you can clearly see the terrain clipping into it here, and this is specifically a map gen thing. So I would need to be able to get places to alter the altitude, but that should be fine. Like I can think I'll probably end up building an API or something that will allow me to do something similar. So I'm thinking I might even go as far as saying whatever you do in terms of the voxels on the level editor then gets transposed into the world. So say you had a bump in the terrain in the map, like this really awfully drawn thing I've just done here. So it's like a mix of procedural content and non-procedural content. Currently these scenes are put in place with code, so like those two houses are just totally code. But that's a horrible way to do it, and it's not going to scale well, so I'm going to have to build a system behind that. But for right now I'm thinking we'll just make a few different models and we'll have a little chill session today. That should be fun. Hey everyone. While we time-lapse these models, I thought I'd just give you a bit of a briefing on the project and my plans for this year. I haven't really talked about my plans for a while, but I do think we'd all benefit from having a nice little chat about it. So firstly, the game itself. It's coming along and actually I'm quite pleased with how it's shaping up. From a gameplay standpoint, I understand it better than I ever have, and a lot of the technical groundwork is now in place. One thing I've learned though is that everything takes longer than you think it will, and it's only me working on this project and also running this channel, so there's quite a lot to do. The original plan back when this channel started was to have the game shipped by midway through last year, but obviously that hasn't happened. However, the game has also evolved and gone through some massive changes, and it's taken time to figure out what those things are and the sort of direction I wanted to take it. Honestly, I'm quite proud of what it's turning into, and I do feel like it's going to be quite a unique game when it's done. I don't really know of much else like it. But it has taken time to get to that point ultimately. As far as this channel itself goes, it's more of a mixed bag. The channel hasn't really grown after a good about 2 years of existence. Most of the growth I did have came from the first few videos. Partly I do think I put that down to my desire to just keep the channel about the game and the devlogs. I've been kind of unwilling to deviate from that and go for like algo bait videos because I think it's just very important the audience actually cares about the game I'm making. You know, game dev is complicated and some weeks I have to work on the boring stuff just for the health of the game. I do think the audience I have is very supportive and generally lovely, and I'm looking at you when I say that. But now the game is coming together and more easy to understand at a glance, I do want to focus more on growing that base viewership. So for 2025, the main things I'm planning. Firstly, keep up the weekly videos. I do think that's important. No one else is really doing it on the platform at the moment, at least that I'm aware of, and also having a frequent touch point with the audience I think is quite important to me. I want to work on branding and polish for both the channel and the game. I'm definitely going to decide on a name for the game this year, even if it kills me. If it has a name, I can start talking about it on other platforms, and also I just think it will generally help for brand awareness. And the final thing that I'm going to mention in a video like this is that I think this is going to be the year that I plan to set up a crowdfunding option like Patreon. And I'm going to spend a bit of time on this one because I do think it's important. So I've bankrolled the past 2 years of this full-time dev work totally by myself. I saved up to do a project like this back when I was working full-time with the expectation that at some point I would end up doing something like this. For me, the most important thing is building trust. I think it's vital that people think I'm someone that can actually follow through with what I say, because otherwise why put your limited time into following the game's progress if it's just going to end up getting binned at some point. And that's a big part of the reason why I put the devlog count in the thumbnail, because I think it shows, especially to newcomers, that there has been consistency and long-term thought put into this project. Really, I didn't want to actually ask for money until I felt I could prove that I was serious about this. Enough time has gone by now that I do hope people feel they can trust this project and also me as a developer. So at some point this year, I am going to try and look into funding options. It's still a few months away as I do need to get things ready, but that'll be one of the major milestones for this project. If I can't reach a certain level of income, I might eventually have to think about things like contracting work or going back full time. However, that's still a good few years away, and there's probably enough time to actually get this game finished. But remember, I do have broader aspirations than just getting this one game out, so I'm hoping to build something here. Either way, I will finish this game, you have my word on that. It's more just a matter of how long it will take. Look at all my new furniture! Yeah! Oh, lovely! Okay, so I've got 2 chairs, I've got a table, got a bed, I've got a chest of drawers. Obviously everything's quite big, but I can fix that. Oh, this is fun. It's like my first time actually using this thing for anything useful. Oh, don't tell me it's crashed. No! No! I don't want you to open the train trunk manager. Oh, okay, I think I actually might have written the scene file. Lots of things that are gonna need fixing. Moment of truth. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Things flicker in a weird way and I don't know why, so that's another bug. But, yeah. So that's it for today, and hope you enjoyed my ramble and maybe some of the kind of aspirations of this project are a bit more cleared up. And in the meantime, while you're here, why not watch this video where I talk about adding collision detection to the game? Finally!